you must far away. Take my hand and we'll run. Take me from the other side.
Hello, hello. I can't hear fish actually, so I'm not sure what was said. Oh, okay. All right. Nobody can hear fish. So I'm going to mime out what was just said there with Boise State playing the UCI Best Coast tournament. I think I lip read you talking about them potentially getting their first win of the series here tonight, as we saw 0-2 currently Boise State is sitting at. And tonight we got a pretty exciting match going down. I am Oh man, I cut out too there. Everything's going crazy today. I'm excited to see Boise State on their first win and see how well these players have integrated themselves together now that they've spent a few weeks together and have had a few starts in this tournament under their belt. And there we can see the bracket currently set up. Boise State sitting there with Illinois at 0-2. Some other teams not finding a win either. Bethany Lutheran, the team that was played just a few days ago, actually. Today, Western University is on docket. We're going to add their second game here to the tournament. And this is going to be a best of 3 as well. Pretty classic for that. Hopefully, Boise State can bring this out to 3 games if it starts poorly. The last couple of games that we have watched have been 2-0. Like, Fish, are you back in?
I think I'm back in. Do we have me?
Yeah, we got
Perfect.
you. We got you.
Yeah, as you did mention, Jolly Boise State looking to get out on the right foot. I guess if there's any solace, as you see there, Texas and Bethany Lutheran, the only teams 2-0 in the group, and those are the 2 teams Boise State played. So they played the best already, I guess you could say. So maybe it's not all downhill from here, but maybe they'll get some competition they can find a win against tonight in Western University.
Hopefully, we obviously, being the Boise State broadcast, love to see wins. We are quite partial to Boise State taking home a W, especially with a few swaps in the roster in terms of either lane changing, as we've got Red Hots now up there in the top from the mid lane, and then a couple newcomers as well who have really been performing incredibly well. The last game that we did, Aqua getting the player of the tournament for Boise State in the jungle position there. So very exciting to see the new players doing well as our returning players, as we can see the rosters pop up there for the players.
Yeah, as we do see the players for both sides, as you mentioned, Aqua Ascent, the other new player for Boise State there in the mid lane. Goblin looks like a new name, but that just can't get dopamine, using some of that blue essence and RP to change his name, going up against Western University there, which a lot of high-ranked players on the side of Western, so Boise State going to have their work cut out for them. Challengers, some Grandmaster players in there as well, so it's going to be some high-level gameplay. And as you mentioned, yeah, Aqua, I think, taking home both Player of the Game awards in the first week of this tournament, despite Boise State's 0-2 record. So maybe Ascent be able to step up, get his first Player of the Game in his Boise State career. That'd be nice for Boise State. But as you mentioned, yeah, I think this team, maybe this will be the week they figure out these roster swaps, because I think the first game they played against the Longhorn Gaming was the first time this team had ever played together. So experience still not maybe on the Boise State side, but it's going to get higher and higher every single week.
Absolutely, and Boise State is one of those teams. It takes a little while to get their groove, but once they find it, they certainly don't lose it, and they really find a way to tune everything up. So we are going to head into the picks and bans here. It looks like Boise State is starting on the blue side and beginning things out with a Fiora ban.
Yeah, this has been sort of the story of the tournament. A lot of one tricks. Looking through the side of Western, the top laner loves his Fiora, the jungler loves his Kha'Zix, and then the interesting one is the support player for Western loves to play Nico. Over 130 games played on Nico, but none recently in the support role. Actually been spamming Karma, so I'll be curious to see if Boise State bans away the Nico. I know there it actually is. I was going to say it's a viable support, but he hasn't played it recently, so I was going to be curious to see how much respect Boise State wanted to put on it, and they're going to say, we don't want that played at all.
That is plenty. We can see the Graves ban there as well, coming from the Mustangs. Western University starting on the red side here today. It is loser decides which side they're going on, and the Rumble. Nobody's going to let the Rumble go through. We're not going to be able to witness how well that Rumble is going for Red Hots, as I hear that is certainly a favorite currently. But so far, every time the opposing team has done their research and banned it out.
Yeah, the Rumble not going to see player. There's the Kha'Zix, so 3 respect bans from Boise State, all banning away the most played champion of someone on Western side. Graves, of course, a favorite of Aqua. And then the Ashe ban being here. Now, Caitlyn, usually the first ban, 80 carry. This is actually on the newest patch, 10.17, that just came out, so she did receive a very slight movement speed nerf, right? Saying that she was a little too strong at all levels. Boise State not going to care about that. They're going to first pick the Caitlyn, something I wanted them to do last week, so we'll see if that 5 drop in movement speed is going to matter at all for Goblin.
The Ashe has been banned out. That was actually the pick that went through last week, as we saw going up against Bethany Lutheran. Did not work out very well. Those crystalline arrows came in clutch often, but Boise State found 2 losses out of that best of 3. The Jhin is going to be the opposing lock in there, so we've got a good amount of range on the ADCs currently as a first pick, and a Galio there. Nice flex pick generally in the mid lane, but we've seen crazy support Galio in the past. Not so viable now.
Yeah, this was the one thing that did catch my eye when I was looking at Western's players. The Western mid laner, his match history is all 80 carries, but he's set up in the mid lane, so I was curious what he was going to play. He has some Lucian in there, thought he might have that, as it looks like Boise State's going to take the classic Caitlyn Morgana, something we've seen throughout the year as a very powerful lane. So yeah, I do like the Galio, going to put a lot on Dean there if that is a support Morgana to hit those black shields. I like the Vi pick as well. Aqua played that very, very well in their first game of this tournament against Longhorn Gaming and was very sort of the initiator on the Vi, so I do like that. So Boise State right now in their first phase of the draft, I have to say, doing very, very well.
And a good easy start with the Vi as well. You can pick really whenever you want to decide to initiate and go gank whatever lane. It looks like the Morgana and the Caitlyn, though, is pretty stationary. I mean, you've got a lot of sustainability in that lane alone, so I feel like Aqua is going to be focusing towards the top side of the map or the mid lane there. As we know, Ascent has also been performing incredibly well in the last games that we've seen. The Karma will be the lock-in, as you mentioned, for the support there for Western. A big favorite. Nico not showing up recently, but if the Karma has, that is a very, very powerful pick. Combined with the Jhin can be very interesting. It looks like the second round of bans are coming through too, and a Zoe will be banned out there. We're going to be looking at jungle and mid bans, or jungle and mid bans for the opposing team, and also for Boise State here.
Yeah, the Hecarim ban, another champion recently receiving just a small nerf, and then the Shen being taken away there on the side of Western. I'll be curious to see what Ascent wants to play with the Rumble taken away. He's played some Zoe. We saw some Set earlier as well, so I'll be curious to see if he wants to lock in a mid lane Set. I know that's had some popularity as well, but I'll be very curious to see if maybe he even brings out a new mid laner. I know he's also shown some Orianna, I think, last week, as well as Kane the last one, so definitely targeting the jungler there for Western, as we see all 3 of the final Boise State bans targeting down that jungle pick. Going to try and put him on something maybe he's not as familiar or comfortable with.
And the Shen as well there as a very, very popular pick right now. Boise State has a lot of versatility potentially on their team at the moment. It looks like the Olaf is going to be the lock-in here. And that is a very well-rounded team to start things out. A lot of push early on and actually continuously through the game. So Boise State is going to need to find a lot of early aggression to prevent them from snowballing into a late-game team. That can be devastating when trying to focus objectives with the Galio Global ult and a Cassiopeia, a very strong scaling champion. Perfect for this team, actually. And the final selection is going to be a Gangplank locked in. So a lot of damage. We've got scaling on this team, but also a lot of early aggression potentially.
Yeah, and I was kind of happy, actually, that Western banned away the Shen. That has been my one maybe complaint, is when we put Red Hots up in the top lane, we maybe took him off of those playmaking champions we've seen there. So yeah, I do like the Gangplank being picked up there. I know there's this new Gangplank build where it involves Leandries. I'll be curious to see if Red Hots wants to bring that one out. I know we saw that today in the LCS from Cloud9's top laner, so I'll be curious to see if that comes out. And then the final pick, the Aurelia for the Western side. So maybe could flex Galio top if he wanted to. Does sort of allow them to match the Cassiopeia if Boise State wants to get shaky with it. But we'll have to see, as we do see Doc's keys to the game, good mid-jungle synergy, play for those objectives, value over time, and never take a fair fight. The Gangplank ult going to do a lot in terms of that. It's all brought to you by Count. Count's Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enables personalized customers' experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Linked by Count's award-winning AI, the Identity Trust Global Network analyzes 32 billion annual interactions in order to personalize user experience and across the spectrums of trust, from frictionless experiences to blocking fraud. Quick, accurate, and identifying trust decisions, deliver safe payments, account creation, log-in events while reducing digital fraud, and much, much more. Make sure to check out Count.com. That is, as you can see on the screen, KOUNT.com for more information.
Love looking at our production room.
We also, don't worry, if League of Legends isn't your game and you are watching, don't worry. VNN is holding a Fortnite tournament on August 29th and a Rocket League tournament on August 30th for high school players. Players going to be competing for Fortnite and Rocket League for a total of $2,500 in gaming gear, the Summer Bash Trophy, and, of course, bragging rights for their school. Top 3 high schools to have the most students register will receive their share of $3,500 in grants funding towards the esports department. So spread the word. Go to avgl.og/VNN for more information. So, of course, love to see esports branching out to the high school level. A ton of fun there. Just the support we're receiving for esports, just really exciting to see.
And we all know you're not doing anything better right now, especially high school students. We're having a lot of game time, doing a lot of schooling from home, at least locally here. A lot of schools doing in and out. So a potential for some socializing as well, getting online with teammates actually gives you a lot of that interaction. Even though it might be online, it's still very helpful in terms of people who are isolated or who have quarantine, things of that nature. So it is really exciting to see all of the tournaments that people have been bringing up recently. It really helps bring the esports community together, which has been so strong for a long, long time.
Yeah, it's even more exciting to see it continue to grow. And as you mentioned, Charlie, it's more exciting to see esports sort of thrive in this lockdown environment because you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to be with, you can be away from everyone when you're playing video games. So definitely going to be a lot of fun. Everyone being isolated gives them something to do, as you mentioned. So as I mentioned, go to avgl/VNN for more information if you're interested in the Rocket League or Fortnite high school tournament. But right now, we're interested to see if Boise State can pick up their first win of the tournament here in the UCI Best Coast. They are 0-2 and unfortunately 0-4 overall. They have not even won a game, so we'll see if the Broncos can pick that one up. Definitely like how the draft turned out for them, so we'll have to see if they are able to maybe take advantage of banning almost all of Western's comfort picks away. I do like the play Boise State did there in the pick draft phase.
Yeah, you always have to wonder, though, how deep the champion pool goes for a lot of these players. As we know, some of the Boise State players have a more shallow champion pool just because of a lot of lame position swaps and also just getting that cohesion within the team and figuring out what works best with composition. Some people have some crazy picks that don't work incredibly well towards the later game or don't quite work towards the overall goal of the team itself. But I do very, very much like the draft. There was a lot of adjustment, or not a lot, but there was a bit of adjustment there for Boise State. They do have quite a bit of benefit and, survivability for sure in some of the lanes that we've got here. The tough one, though, is certainly going to be Aurelia into the Gangplank if there is no swap in that lane. Boise State might really struggle with that because in my experience, the Gangplank or the Aurelia is definitely a counter there for GP. So a little bit of a struggle in the top, but hey, I was mentioning how the security in the bottom lane is going to allow for Aqua on the Vi to easily be able to roam up towards top and hopefully kind of let that bottom lane maintain itself as the Caitlyn and the Morgana, and hopefully Boise State is able to take advantage of everything they can grab.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see what Aqua's summoner choices are going to be as we hop into the game. Well, we've seen him not running flash on things like Graves. Vi could fit into that category. You are able to queue over a lot of the walls in Summoner's Rift, but he's going to play it safe this time, is going to pick up the flash. So no really crazy plays here. This time you will be able to go over walls like Dragon and Baron, maybe steal that. One thing to notice, nobody has Ignite on either side, so it'll be curious to see the Gangplank Oranges might be able to save him. We might even have Cassiopeia. She does have some of that sustain, but going with the Phase Rush Ascent is, I know Conqueror is a very popular choice on that champion as well. So a lot of healing could come out from both sides here without the grievous wounds to start. So I'll be very curious to see how this opening up. And it looks like right now, unlike our last game, Jolly, everyone's content to just kind of hang out and let their own jungle camps.
Yeah, you know, that might not be a bad thing. As you mentioned, Boise State is 0-4 in terms of matches themselves and 0-2 in the overall game so far for this tournament. So that invasion, whether it's on their side or on the opposing team side, Western University in this case has not worked out incredibly well for them. And having those summoner spells identical across the board is also slightly confining, but we can imagine with all the teleports we're seeing across the board here, just how much roam we're going to get early on from this team and how much focus there is going to be on these objectives very early on.
Yeah, speaking of the summoner spells being mirrored, the items mirrored across the board as well. The only difference, Loyal having that minion dematerializer. And I will be curious to see when Boise State wants to go for that grievous wounds, because there is a Conqueror Olaf on the other team there. So we do see some poke damage coming out. And of course, in chat, you can vote along. Who do you think won the draft here in our game one between Boise State and Western University? Tell us what you think and vote in the chat. We'll have those results in a few minutes. But yeah, I'm going to be curious to see who wants to be able to put that grievous wounds onto Cyber and the Olaf, because we know a low health Olaf can heal forever, especially when nobody on Boise State sides has any sort of way to stop that healing.
Already a lot of damage there going over to Goblin. It's going to have to be a safe lane for Goblin and Dean down there. They do have a lot of potential going later on, and if we get some good bindings, as we are very used to from Dean, things will go well. But so much early aggression coming from this Karma, as is pretty standard, and if it is a regular for this player, SkyTech, watch out guys, SkyTech, then we certainly have something to be afraid of there. Dean missing the first binding here, and already quite a bit of damage going across to the entire bottom lane of Boise State.
Good job by Lynx there, hitting the force shot on the Goblin. Taunt going to land onto Ascent. He'll take some poke damage as well. Now going to try and chase down Loyal, so they should come out even there. But yeah, the key for Boise State's bot lane, they've got to dodge the empowered shot from Lynx there. SkyTech doing a great job forcing Goblin into range, as you could even see maybe why the Nico was banned. Nico in the clan tag for SkyTech, so you know he's a fan. You see Lynx holding that shot, going to put it on to Dean. Not going to do as much damage though, as we do see Aqua now going to try and charge in for a gank. Heal going to be used. Root still lands onto Lynx though. Flash committed by Goblin. There is a teleport in the back line. Root not going to land. Loyal going to land the taunt onto Dean. We see Ascent coming in as well. It's a party in the bot lane. 4 members of Boise State down there and nothing to show for it but one heal and a flash being blown out there. We do see in the top lane them trading back and forth. J.O. Ye getting the winning trade on that one.
The Ascent teleport coming in a little bit late on that. Red Hots with a fantastic flash there to avoid the slow from Cyber's machete. And now Dean taking a lot of damage, but hey, SkyTech is going to get locked down. Oh!
Great job there by Goblin to pick up first blood. They will trade it though. Cyber held around in the top lane, so that is going to be a 1-for-1, but Boise State going to get that first blood bonus gold, so they'll come out a little bit ahead there. And the kill going onto the Olaf means that Aurelia shouldn't be too much of a pain for Red Hots to deal with. Did get the flash out as well from the Aurelia, so maybe a gank set up for Aqua in the future.
And that is nice after so much pressure was placed onto the Broncos here from the Mustangs in the bottom lane to be able to pick up that first blood. Just a little too much aggression from Western University. Boise State's going to take advantage of it after a bit of a miss gank. You know, the teleport committed, nothing really picked up from that. A lot of aggression down here. So Boise State coming out successful, be able to at least back with a little bit more gold than the opposition.
See when looks like the back's being channeled there for Boise State. Unfortunately, Red Hot's only able to pick up a coal and a mana crystal, so he is not going to have a fun time up in that top lane. The Aurelia getting 2 longswords and a dagger, so he is going to have to just be content farming under tower. SkyTech now trying to dive Dean, who did not back. Great use of the spell shield there to avoid the slow 1 tower shot onto SkyTech. So Goblin got the back off. He's going to come back with a longsword, or a BF sword, excuse me. We'll see how long Lynx wants to stay, because Boise State will hold that AD advantage until he is able to back. Right now, Boise State, you see in the CS, winning in almost every lane except bot, but of course that's because Goblin chose to back as the 2 duke it out in the top lane there. Red Hot starting to fall very low. Conquer going to proc by Jay, so Red Hot just forced to disengage. There's this nice dragon there right underneath Boise State's nose, so first Cloud Dragon goes over to Western.
Dean up on his way there to actually throw a ward down towards the Dragon Pit. Western University, unbeknownst to Boise State, able to pick up that first one, and Air Drake feels pretty good at this point in the game with the composition that they've got. SkyTech is going to find itself a binding.
Yeah, root onto SkyTech. Unfortunately, nothing else going to land. Piltover Peacemaker going to miss as well, but it will set up Aqua for a lane gank on the bot side once they get back, as the Aurelia ult's going to be committed. Red Hot's going to get stunned up. No oranges to make it K, and Aurelia going to pick up the first kills. We see Aqua going to dive in onto SkyTech, dropping very, very low. Gets the last E to get a kill. Tower shots, though, going to prevent Boise State from picking up Link. So once again, another 1-for-1. Boise State bot lane picks up a kill in exchange for a top lane kill for Western.
And this is kind of what we were expecting as well, and what I was predicting towards the beginning of the game. It is such a tough lane as a gangplank to go up against an Aurelia, and the cooldown is so long on the remove Scurvy as well that once you utilize it, you can't use it against the ultimate or to get out of her E lockdown. So Boise State, at least this bottom lane, having one of the kills going over to Goblin there. 2 deaths though on the gangplank hurts, but there are still 2 deaths on the Karma in the bottom lane. Nothing yet for recourse for Lynx here, and a really aggressive move from Western University towards Boise State's jungle.
Yeah, I thought like Aqua was going to go over. Now we see a scent flash over. Here comes Loyal in with the ult, and that just felt like Boise State might not have been on the same page. Red Hots is going to pick up Cyber, so yet again another 1-for-1, but we saw Aqua. He charged back in with the Q, then flashed over the wall as a scent flashed over to try and save him. So 1 member left, 1 member went in, and unfortunately Boise State only able to pick up 1 kill. Now it's sent on to Red Hots. He's going to get taunted up as well. He will just fall over, and now Aqua has to be very careful. Dean there as well. Loyal going to get binded up. Aqua goes right back in, going to pick up the kill. SkyTech very, very low. Exhaust going to come out onto the Aurelia. Jay only has so much mana, but it might be enough as Aqua dropping very low. Stun going to land at the last second there, but it looks like he should be able to get away. Boise State and Western very even right now, just trading kill for kill.
Aqua incredibly low, is going to try to push things as far as possible, see if they can bait somebody back in, but no, the recall's coming through, and Boise State should have, a little bit of pressure in the bottom lane, but not if Cyber decides to jump in on this gank.
And Cyber's going to find Goblin out all alone. We'll see if Goblin is going to use the heal just to try and kill Lynx. Unfortunately, that last shot going to crit, and Goblin going to go down. So the heal blown in exchange, actually for Lynx's heal as well. That's what kept him alive. But Cyber doing a fantastic job all over the map, encouraging his team. As Lynx now very, very low. We'll see if Dean can pick him up. Root is going to land. There's the W. Couple of auto attacks, and Dean going to pick up another one. It's the 1-for-1 trend continuing as we enter the 9-minute mark.
And Dean feeling pretty good in the bottom lane, sitting 1-0-3, 4 out of 5 kill participation there. Already a bit of roam from Boise State and Western, but Boise State's roam has been a little bit more fruitful aside from, obviously, that Olaf in the jungle jumping in. And now Red Hot's trying to defend this 2v1 under tower, flashes into the stun from the Aurelia.
And that's going to get hit up by the Aurelia ult as well. We'll see if the tower can help. There's a set. He is going to pick off a very low health. Gets the flash as well. See if he wants to try and chase down SkyTech. He will not. He will just be content to farm. But a great job by Boise State answering any roam that Western has tried to put in. We do see a tower plate going over to the side of Loyal, so that will explain the 500 gold difference besides the 6-6 kill tie there. Is Cyber now going to get the flash away from Goblin. Black Shield did go on. Dean now going to try and ult. Has the flash away. Curtain Call going to be used. Cyber will get the kill. Great job blocking the ace in the hole there by Lynx. Using that flash, we see Loyal now coming in on the back line. This should be the first time Western's going to maintain the kill lead. Goblin trying to find Lynx there, holding on to that last shot. He's now just sort of running away from Loyal, maybe trying to go to the tower, but he is going to die regardless. Link picks up that one, and Western doing a great job focusing that bottom lane.
Great teamwork coming out here from Western University across the board, and you're absolutely right about Cyber being everywhere that he needs to be at the right times. Lynx saving that 4th shot every time to pick up the kill or to deal the most damage possible to Goblin there. Most of the deaths, though, or at least half of the deaths currently now sitting in the top lane on the gangplank, so still a rough game there. We need to get to the point of roam before Boise State's really going to be comfortable.
I mean, the Aurelia picked up 2 plates along with the 79 CS, so very far ahead of Red Hots there. And part of the reason the gold lead, even though the kills were tied, was favoring Western University. Does look like Aqua able to steal The Rift Herald there will have to trade it, unfortunately, for the Infernal Dragon. And now Aqua's going to try and jump onto Aurelia. There comes the Gangplank. Oh, there's the Assault and Battery as well. Jay is going to be caught out. He is going to be shut down. Aqua now on a killing spree, and that should help Red Hot. We'll see if they're able to get this first tower here. They do have Shelly with the Demolish. They might have enough as the Mountain Dragon rises. Boise State trading a dragon for what looks to be first turret.
That is a decent amount of damage onto the plates there. Red Hots is going to take a bit of damage, but that certainly helps with the slight gold disparity that was against them, almost evening out the kills, getting a few plates on their side while Goblin holds off this bottom lane. But we've seen how quickly Western University is able to navigate down towards the bottom, and actually it looks like Cyber is headed towards top, as we can see Shelly there going to help Boise State pick up the first turret of the game and giving them a very slight gold lead now to start.
That should help Red Hot maybe get back even, or at least as even as he can, with Jay in the top lane there. We do see the farm still favoring the Aurelia by 16 right now, and the Blade of the Rune King finish. Still looking for Red Hots to finish that Triforce. Of course, one of the more expensive items in the game if you're not off to a great start. Gonna take you a while to put that one together, but I think as we saw last time Aqua played Vi, Boise State's just gotta play through him. Whatever target he goes on, if they can get a pick, that's gonna be how they're gonna come back in this game.
The problem with that is, even though Aqua has tried to make some fantastic ganks, even without vision, Boise State has been a little too aggressive before Aqua was able to actually engage on these fights, and Western University immediately picks up on that aggression in recognition of a potential gank there coming from Aqua. We know how quickly a Vi can jump onto the back line or assist the team in an engage, and Western University is just not allowing that. And in the meantime, Cyber is able to get everywhere because of the vision control currently being held by Western University. So many vision wards being placed from the very, very start of this game, and Boise State's vision very quickly being taken down as well. But the aggressive vision from Western University is really aiding them in these ganks and in preventing potential ganks from Boise State.
Yeah, and it's also, every time Cyber's gone in and stole Aqua's blue buff, he's had Loyal use the hero's entrance to help him out there. As Jay, once again, going to jump on Red Hots. The oranges are not going to save him. That's another kill for the Aurelia. Aqua trying to equal it in the mid lane. He will be on a rampage, unfortunately. No assist for Ascent, but Boise State doing a great job in everything but that one fight bot lane. Always securing a kill when Western does to keep this gold lead still in the Broncos' favor.
The CS definitely in a benefit for Boise State towards the bottom half of the map. No surprise, of course, Red Hot struggling in this matchup. Now Cyber's going to be jumped on by 3 members of Boise State, taking the exhaust. And Aqua continuing that rampage, going to unstoppable here, while Jay is just pushed back. Once this gets to a team fight stage, Boise State needs to start these engages properly. 5-0-1 Vi is fantastic to go into, but if we let this Aurelia get a few more items, it will be very difficult for them to disengage from fights.
Yeah, and Aqua's done a great job sort of baiting out Western, making it look like he's going to disengage and then turning it right back around and smashing right into somebody. So we'll have to see how long it takes for Western to pick up on that if they start of maybe don't fall for the baits there. As we now have another poll in chat, who's more broken? I don't know what the options are. Of Aurelia or Vi would be the options, and it has to be Aurelia. There's a reason the meme Better Nerf Aurelia exists. It's been her forever.
Right. You know, and that actually, I think that it was out before, I mean, that's been out since the start, so before she was even reworked here. But now she is even more broken, and there Goblin getting stunned down. Now the ultimate coming out from Lynx. We got some pinks coming out here in the bottom side.
Yeah, Aqua maybe wants
Goblin
to turn
managing
this
to stay
around.
alive.
There's the Red Hots ult. There's the ace in the hole. Cyber now sneaking in. We'll see if this evolves into a full 3-on-3. The hero's entrance is available. We can see Loyal setting up and maybe jump down there. Looks like they're going to. Everyone's going to disengage. They'll even up the towers. Western University, that Aurelia, as you mentioned, Jolly. Boise State's got to find an answer before she comes fully online.
She does have Blade of the Ruin King finished, working on the Phage there, as we can see, and lots of vision in the pockets of Western University as we can take a look at the map. See Boise State trying to recover from that by placing down a little bit of aggressive vision, as Western University isn't clearing that out quite as quickly as they are on Boise State's side with all of the invades that we have seen. But the aggression coming from every single side of Western University is a lot for Boise State to handle right now, especially with that Gangplank currently sitting so far behind that the recovery is almost impossible. More of a utility champion now at this point in the game.
Yes, we do see here, Cyber was hiding around in the tri-bush. We'll see if Boise State wants to do anything. Root is going to miss. Dean going to flash away. Will get rooted. Going to pop the Morgana ult. Should force everyone to disengage there. Ascent and Loyal now going to meet right by the red-blue buff as the Earth Dragon does spawn. Now Aurelia does have teleport. Red Hots does not, and he has no way to stop it. So Boise State could quickly find themselves in a 4-on-5. Right now, Aurelia trying to dive Red Hots under turret. Red Hots doing a fantastic job kiting around. What a play. It does look like, unfortunately, Boise State might have to concede the Dragon here. Yeah, it looks like Boise State going to give that one over. So soul point for Western, but Red Hot's a fantastic play in the top lane.
More deaths on the Aurelia spells good for Boise State, that's for sure, and Red Hots being able to pick up a little bit in CS, doing a really good job actually of maintaining, not incredibly far behind in CS comparatively, and how much he's been bullied here in this lane, currently sitting at 2, 5, and 3, just finished up the Triforce as we can see there, so Red Hots certainly a top lane lags. Yeah, I've heard that one before.
Hey, if I die, it was lag. That's the reason every time in my game. If I die lagging, sorry.
Every time. But the only player now to have not died is Aqua on that Vi. So currently, you know, even though the Aurelia is more busted in our opinions, Aqua is the most busted player on the board as Boise State picks up Shelly once more.
Yeah, 100% of chat agreeing with us. Very rare you ever get Twitch chat to 100% agree on anything, but apparently it is that Aurelia is at least more busted than Vi. Great job by Aqua, by the way. Even though he's conceded the Dragon, still picking up the second Rift Herald of the game, so Boise State can use that to push. He is caught out all alone. The Root going to land. He will dash away now. Red Hot's going to be caught up. Cyber going to flash in. There's the curtain call. One shutdown already go on to the Jhin. Another kill going to land. Cyber picks off Red Hots, and Dean just a sitting Morgana there. He will fall. A double kill, and Western University, as the ult miss from Aurelia, should have a free chance here to push this T1 turret in mid.
What a fantastic shot as well from Lynx with the curtain call, getting the slow on the Morgana so that they could follow that up with a third kill, sending a double kill over to Cyber. Yeah, a few flashes, or the flash was expended. I suppose SkyTech also utilizing that one, but so much pressure now coming out of Western University, and Cyber as well, beginning a lot of these engages. Ooh, Ascent trying to re-engage on this one after flashing in, throwing down the ultimate here, but Loyal is going to respond. And that, I'm not sure if that's an engage I would have gone in on, especially using the flash at the very beginning and then immediately walking away to disengage from that fight.
Yeah, I guess Ascent maybe thought he could catch them napping. Of course, if you're facing the Cassiopeia, you will get stunned. Ascent, Aqua gonna try and find Lynx napping there. Thought he had him all alone. Loyal gonna walk over there, drop the taunt just to scare off Aqua. But yeah, Ascent, I think he maybe thought he could stun onto Lynx there. It did not work. Nice shield there by Dean to block the slow from the undertow there from Cyber. But yeah, right now, Boise State got to find a way to get Aqua on the backline, as you mentioned. If he can get onto Lynx with that 5-1 scoreline in the Yomus, he should be able to take him down, because as we see Lynx 3-1-3, Goblin unfortunately just 1-2-1. So it is Boise State right now, maybe lacking a little bit in terms of bot lane damage.
That gold, not too big of a disparity, though, for Boise State. As you said, the second tower certainly hurting Boise State, and a lot of pressure up there consistently in the top lane means as frequently as Red Hots is trying to move down to get assists or to participate in some of these team fights, immediately the pressure from Western University moving towards that top side or now towards the bottom side as well is hurting them. Teleports on board from just Loyal and Red Hots at the moment. So Ascent and Jay, not quite as mobile here, but Loyal also having the hero's entrance makes things really scary for Boise State when they try to engage, when they see what looks like a potential catch out of an enemy player there. Not always the case. Very frequently, Western University is sitting right there in the wings. Their communication is certainly on point in terms of their responses to a player being jumped on by Boise State. And the retaliation response is not nearly as strong here from the Broncos, unfortunate as it is.
Yeah, that is the one thing, as you mentioned. Anytime it looks like a pick, if Galio is even anywhere on the map, he's going to be able to hero entrance in and make it a 2v1, as we do see Jane now nearly getting caught out. Aqua there in the bot lane, going to just walk away. So that'll be something Boise State has to keep an eye on. And also the Executioner's calling being picked up on Goblin. That fits the Grievous Wound requirement I was talking about, but that also means Goblin now has to be auto-attacking Olaf. Not sure that's what you want to see if you're Boise State, but right now they're going to catch out SkyTech there. There comes the Red Hots ult. SkyTech just barely barely alive, able to walk away. Now he's able to get picked off there by the ace in the hole. Curtain call going to come out, and Aqua might be forced to run away there. It will be canceled. Cyber going to pick up one. Teleport coming in. Goblin trying to flash away. He will get taunted. He will go down. Aqua going to re-engage. He will pick up Cyber. Ult onto Loyal as well. Forces the flash as Lynx now going to try and pick that one up. He's going to use heal just for the movement speed. Try and get in range. The crit might have mattered, and Lynx going to pick up that one. Ascent now wants to turn it around. Now here comes the hero's entrance. It might not matter. A shutdown. There's the shield from Sephiroth's Embrace. Is it going to be enough? It will be. Boise State, a great job there, turning that into a 4 for 3.
And as I mentioned, the good scale on Cassiopeia certainly makes things handy. We see the double buff kind of passing back and forth. Ascent ending up with that one feeling pretty good, and a lot of pressure and good responses now from Boise State that we were kind of just seeing from Western University. Getting into the later game, Boise State having more recognition of the items that they have and maybe the imbalance in damage and the amount of damage that they're able to take before losing their own lives. So we've got a lot of the lifesteal as well, though, from the Olaf. Keeping that in mind, though, Aqua responding so well to that engage here. And now another jump on from the Aurelia.
Aurelia trying to reduce the amount of Boise State members on the map, chasing down Red Hot's. Aqua, though, going to find him out. Red Hot, once again, the Kite Master, but this time it's not going to matter. Blade Surge going to pick up the kill. This should be a 1-for-1. Unfortunately, Ascent will fall as well, so Boise State going to be down a member. There is the ace in the hole, going to be nicely blocked away there by SkyTech, but this matters because right now it is sole point for Western University, and if they can get this shield online from the Mountain Soul at just 22 minutes, that would be huge. They're going to start up the Dragon, at least make it shoot onto Boise State side. We'll see what the Broncos want to do right now. Nobody committing to the disengage. Curtain call going to be used. Dean expertly dodging, gets hit by the first one. Tries to spell immune, but he will go down. It's a 4-on-2. Cyber now in on the back line, trying to jump onto Goblin. He will fall. Aqua tried to match that, jumping onto Lynx. Unfortunately, more of a backline for Western University, and now this might all be up to Aqua to steal this one, but I don't think he's going to get in range. That is sole point over to Western. They're going to have that shield for the rest of the game.
That means these pushes in lane are going to be insane. Boise State going to really have to keep a close eye on their base as Western University is getting closer and closer, likely able to push for a second tower here. No, they're actually probably going to disengage the rest of the team, kind of setting up around the Baron Pit, throwing down a lot of really good both defensive and aggressive vision, as we can see in Boise State just not able to maintain the sweepers and to keep enough of that vision down to their benefit here. And it seems like a lot of bullying back and forth. Ascent now very much so getting online, feels good, but this Caitlyn not dealing nearly as much damage, and the front line from Cyber and Jay also jumping so quickly to the back line means that Boise State is kind of scattered during these fights. They don't really know who to focus on, and as we saw with that last one, being split apart at the start makes things incredibly difficult for them to try to re-engage after any sort of disengage.
Yeah, and Jay's doing a great job trying to, as we saw in Doxy's the game for Boise State, never take a fair fight. Jay's doing a great job of that, trying to land a pick onto somebody. Unfortunately, it usually is Red Hot just because they are mirroring each other and making it so Boise State's always down a member. They were able to get the elimination there, but we will have to see how Boise State handles this one. I think a Baron attempt might be Boise State's best bet here because, as we mentioned, you can see all of the champions for Western University going to have that nice shield that will scale up in the game. A Guardian's Angel finished by Cyber, by the way. I do love that pickup. The Olaf can Ragnarok in. Once that falls, he might be susceptible to CC, but he'll just have a Guardian Angel to come right back to life.
That's certainly going to be rough with all of the pressure that Western University has on objectives at the moment. That means that while Boise State might feel like they have an advantage at times, Cyber being able to come right back into the fight after using the Ragnarok, or even before using the Ragnarok, and then utilizing it immediately after the GA pops there. Boise State, the Broncos, trying to find anything that they can, but very split across the map. Any of these engages that occur, it has to be at least 4 members there of Boise State, probably Red Hot's trying to push in a different lane with the ability to teleport and that global ultimate in access there. Boise State occasionally getting caught out, and it does not ever seem to work in favor of them here. Actually, a teleport coming in to follow up the GP ultimate from Red Hot's.
Yeah, Red Hot's teleporting in. Maybe thought they could land a pick with the ultimate. Unfortunately, not going to work, so that'll give full teleport advantage over to the side of Western University. One good thing for Boise State, the Cassiopeia, as we talked about, definitely going to outscale a Galio late game, so there will be more sources of damage online for Boise State the longer we get into this game, so that might be something to sort of help them chip down through that shield, especially if Ascent can be sort of you know, unopposed when he attacks, I guess is the right word, uninhibited. If he can just sort of free reign and throw those Jade Fangs out, he should do a ton of damage to the backline of Western. So I like Boise State's chances the later and later this game goes. There's, of course, going to be an Elder Dragon on the map in a couple minutes as well. That could turn things around for Boise State. The one thing about a team getting 4 fast dragons, Elder Dragon going to be a lot more impactful in this game than we've seen in other games.
A lot of mobility, too, from Western University on top of the Mountain Soul there. Certainly makes these objectives tough for Boise State to try to focus on. And in particular, having the Galio, the Aurelia, and the Olaf on the front line. As much damage as Ascent is able to deal on that back line, it's getting to it that makes things tough, or preventing being jumped on from the front line on Western University because of the mobility that they currently have with the composition they're running right now. So Boise State really struggling to find their footing on this one, or to find any sort of benefit in this right now. I'm not sure how easy this contesting this Baron is going to be from them. And it looks like 3 members might be making their way up towards the pit. Might not be a great choice at the moment, though, based on who's there, and a teleport is coming through.
Yeah, the GP ult's going to push him up. There's the curtain call. The Ragnarok going to be popped. Aqua going to jump right on the back line. There's the hero's entrance. Nobody going to be knocked up by that. Cyber dropping very, very low. Still has the GA that needs to be popped as he barely hangs on. Ascent forced to use the Zhonya's there to start off the fight, dropping very low. Him and Aurelia going to trade lives there. Boise State now has to disengage. Loyal going to jump onto Goblin there, taking a little bit of poke damage. There comes the ace in the hole, though. The nice shield to block it. Dean tries to flash in, land the binding. The heal's going to go out onto Aqua, trying to keep him alive as Western forced to disengage. Great job there by Boise State, matching that Baron call. They missed a blue ward in the river that allowed Boise State to have full vision of what was going on. I think that changed the fight for the Broncos and allowed them to go 1-for-1.
So disheartening having Cyber sitting there at likely double-digit health towards the end, not even being able to pop the GA, so that is still off cooldown at the moment. Ascent being the one to go down also hurts, but that means that Western University is certainly terrified of the amount of damage that Ascent is putting out at this point. Sitting really pretty in terms of CS as well, as a Cassiopeia should, and now Red Hot's is going to have to flash away from this one. Loyal there, burning the jump in. Boise State getting very, very, very hard pushback from Western.
Yeah, Lynx was able to get the slow on the auto attack from the Stormkeeper there, forcing Red Hots to flash, and this is now going to be another Baron call for Western. Unfortunately, this time the Broncos don't have any vision up, and they all just backed as well. They might have to hand this one over. We do see Elder Dragon spawning very, very shortly. Maybe the Broncos think they can sneak in an Elder Dragon with the backs coming off as Red Team picks up the Baron Nashor. They'll have that for the next 3 minutes. The curtain call comes out, probably just using that to try and get some vision, as we see. Looks like Boise State going over to the Elder Dragon, gonna try and burn it. Cassiopeia, a ton of PvE DPS. We'll see if that's going to matter. They end up picking it up. We'll see if they can use it to execute anybody. Goblin going to be the first one to fall. Now here's entrance going to be committed. Aqua will fall for the double kill. Boise State now trying to back away as the Crucial Dragon and Elder Dragon and Baron timers are at the top of your screen. Boise State right now unable to use that Elder Dragon, unfortunately, and we'll see if any of them can hold on to it. Ascent going to get caught out now. 3 members chasing him, and this might be a dead snake. Unfortunately, doesn't look like he's going to be able to land anything there, so unable to use the Elder Dragon, just seconds away from it proccing onto Skytech. So Boise State down to just 2 Elder Dragons, unfortunately.
Western University maintaining their Baron buff, but we can see how much pressure they're now able to put on having those Baron empowered minions. Absolutely so close there for Boise State. A really impressive thing currently from Western University, though, is I was talking about their front line being so crucial, and at the moment they're doing an incredible job of swapping aggro, engaging, disengaging in turn, so that Boise State has to focus somebody else, deal a ton of damage, and get them very, very low, but the aggression swap allows Western University and the Mustangs to get off as much damage as they want there. We can see the shutdown coming through from Dean as Ascent goes down a little bit earlier on there.
Yeah, great job catching out Lynx in the jungle, trying to steal the Boise State red buff, so that is going to help. Unfortunately, no objectives are on the map for Boise State to take advantage of that pick, but it will definitely help to shrink that gold lead down to just about 400. Someone in chat, I do agree. That is a very angry Viking bro right now, and it's a Viking bro that, by the way, gets 2 lives because that GA still yet to be procced by Boise State, so Cyber going to have a second chance at life if he does fall in one of these fights.
And now with the Spirit Visage as well, trying to maintain against Ascent's damage, as that is certainly the most ferocious thing on the Broncos team at the moment here. Vi on Aqua, or Aqua on Vi, doing a great job of starting these engages, and it seems like Boise State is much more successful when they begin the engage as opposed to responding. They tend to get a little bit cloudy-minded, it seems almost, as the aggression and the placement of these players is a little askew. We saw Ascent kind of getting caught out after the disengage from that Elder Dragon fight. Western University able to find 3 members to corner Ascent there. So not, not horrible for sure, but a little bit disconcerting in terms of their responses here to Western University's aggression.
Link's gonna try and find out Dean. Good job using the spell immune on the Black Shield there to avoid any roots. We do see that Aurelia 4 items, with the GA. So 2 GAs Boise State's gonna have to deal with. But one good news for the Broncos, they do have a very good farming team, so they should be able to keep their inhibitor turrets and at least their inhibitors alive with the Cassiopeia and the Gangplank. A lot of AoE damage there. So any push from Western that doesn't result in a kill should mean the Broncos just gonna pick up some extra gold there. Maybe be able to find their way back, as we do see they are down 500 gold. There's a little bit of chip damage coming out. Link's doing a great job using that Storm Raider proc to slow. Right now, Aqua, though, thinks he finds Loyal all alone in the backline. They're going to commit the assault and battery. There's the redemption coming out, and Aqua's going to pick up the kill, just what Boise State needed. Now with that pick and no hero's entrance, we'll see if they want to continue the fight. Curtain Call going to be committed there. Looks like a full disengage. They've got a block for Aqua. Looks like they're going to do a great job of doing that. Boise State, great job using that Vi to get a pick on a solo pushing Galio.
And that's exactly what Boise State needs to continue to do here as Western University pushes into the base. We can see an engage there from Aqua. Boise State dealing a lot of damage.
The teleport going to be committed. The GA is going to be blown, but it will cost Aqua his life. Jay's now going to want to jump in. Double kill for Lynx on the back line, and Boise State going to have to try and run. Jay's going to pick up 1 Skytech, the member to flash over. Not who I expected it to be, the Karma support, but Boise State unfortunately going to be pushed back in their base. Good news for the Broncos, though. No objectives up, so it should just be an inhibitor turret in the mid that they will lose, but Cassiopeia might be able to do enough to hold off the inhibitor.
And a lot of flashes down as well. Western University actually not having a single one up at the moment. Cyber will be the next to be able to utilize that summoner spell. Now the first inhibitor of the game going to be going down. Boise State trying to defend this base. It looks like Western University wants to focus towards the top side, get pressure on every lane, as the split push tactic has been working incredibly well for them. Boise State so far behind in certain aspects there on damage that Western University is taking advantage of forcing them to split up so that Western University doesn't get too big of a push in any one lane into the base, since they've already broken through that. The amount of vision as well that Western University now has been able to place once you push that far into the game, and not allowed the other team to oppose that by using their own pressure. Boise State really just completely on the defensive for the last several minutes here after that Elder Dragon fight. But this is the moment now for them to try to get a little bit of recompense for what just happened there to their base.
And we do see the one thing with the 2 major objectives dying at similar times is that they are both going to spawn at very similar times as well. So we'll be curious to see if either team prioritizes a Baron or an Elder Dragon, how they want to try and set up their vision around those objectives to prevent the other team. You would think it's got to be Boise State playing on the back line here. It just feels like Western pushing them down. So getting that vision on Baron, getting that vision on the Elder Dragon going to be very, very key. We do see Gangplank finishing that Infinity Edge, but right now Skytech going to be caught out there. There's the hero's entrance, but it's not going to be enough. The rest of Western trying to re-engage here. Teleport going to be committed. Looks like they're just going to blast Cone away as the GP ult is used. We'll see if Boise State wants to continue the fight. Blue Trinket going to give away their location. Cyber now throwing some undertow axes out, trying to land a slow. Here comes the curtain call just to stop any Boise State advance. All of those landing onto Red Hots. He's going to be dropping very, very low, but the redemption from Dean's going to heal them right back up, and the engage might be back on right now. The two teams dancing around the Elder Dragon. Goblin going to put a little bit of damage on, will get shot out there by Lynx. Force shot being held by the Jhin. Boise State respecting that one, will hit on to Red Hots right now. It does look like the Aurelia doesn't have teleport, so has to get all the way back in the fight, and Karma's still dead. Boise State now looks like they may be caught out here. Root going to land onto Cyber. Jay now in the backline. He sees a low health Dean. Link's going to cleanse that stun immediately from Ascent. Going to be forced to use Azania's Hourglass. Aurelia in the backline there. Unfortunately, 3 members going to go down for Boise State. 4 and Goblin should unfortunately make it 5. An ace in a 4v5 for Western, and that should be game.
Absolutely, the teleport into the base there from Loyal, as we can see Western University feeling like they don't even need to go help out this Aurelia on the Nexus, or the Galio. But Boise State really falling behind every single time they had a great opportunity for an engage and went to move in on it. Western University just has the range, and we can see Lynx every time using the curtain call to push them back. Boise State responded exactly how he wanted to as well every time, of attempting to disengage, taking that slow, and allowing the rest of Western University to jump in on the fight. And that means first game is going to go over to Western University. Boise State continues the streak, but will it be broken here with the next game?
We'll have to see. It really felt like Boise State was in that game. It really all the way up until that Elder Dragon, where even though unfortunately they were able to pick it up, they weren't actually able to get a single kill with the execution buff, and they did lose 3 members in the process. And that really felt like is where the game snowballed in Western's favor. So we'll have to see what changes Boise State wants to make. But the Broncos playing very, very well here in game 1. So we will have some highlights to check out here from game 1. I really thought Boise, as I mentioned, they were there all the way until that Elder Dragon fight where it just kind of went a little bit south. But they did a really good job for probably about the first 25 minutes of the game, kind of staying with Western, even though that Western was picking up all the dragons, had the Mountain Soul. Boise State was right there with them toe-to-toe.
Great job of them finding out targets on the back line as well.
Boise State Esports is brought to you by Game Pants Arenas and Equipment, Omen by HP, and Archon Clothing, makers of official licensed Boise State Esports apparel.
Welcome back to the Boise State University Twitch channel here. The Broncos unfortunately dropping game 1 against Western University in the UCI Best Coast tournament here. The Broncos' first game of week 2. Fish and Jolly on the cast as we get to some highlights from game 1. And it really felt like the Boise State Broncos were in this game. Even though Western got the first 4 dragons, Boise State doing a really, really good job, especially around Aqua's Vi play, staying in this game, getting the picks they needed. And I thought Aqua on that Vi played very, very well here as we catch out some of his highlights, able to get a ton of early eliminations for them.
Aqua maintaining that MVP player for sure. Goblin did a great job, though, as well. Both Goblin and Dean there in the bottom lane early game. Whoa. Very good to see multiple lanes do well, but really the front line there from Western was just too much for Boise State to break through.
And it really felt like Aqua, unfortunately, with Vi, you love to get those picks, but the Galio pick was nearly perfect because a lot of times Aqua would go in on Cyber or someone else, and he would just get ulted in by Galio, and it would turn what was a 1v1 with a fed Vi into a 2v1, and as far as Aqua was ahead, he just wasn't that far ahead yet to 2v1. So I think that Galio, maybe you ban Galio away, you prevent the hero's entrance, and then you put Aqua back on the Vi. He should be able to 1v1 anyone in the game without having to worry about a second member joining in.
Yeah, that Olaf not picking up, obviously, until towards later in the game. The engages in the ganks, though, very, very successful coming from that opposing jungler. For the Vi, absolutely working well, and that might even be something that Western considers banning out of respect because of how well it went. We can see the great disengage that Aqua had there during that fight after picking up a kill or two. So Boise State finding those victories along the way, but the composition just ended up going towards the later game in Western's favor there, as the Mustangs had almost an unbreakable front line towards the end. A lot of really good burst damage from Boise State, but just too far on the back line and not quite easy enough to engage on the opposing back line there.
Yeah, Aqua did a really good job also using the Qs as sort of bait. Was he going to disengage? Was he going to go back in? A lot of the times he went back in, which is sort of synonymous with the aggressive style we've seen in his first 3 matches with Boise State. So I really liked how he played the Vi. But as you mentioned, Jolly, the front line for Western just kind of got too far ahead. As you see, the shields from the Mountain Dragon there just kind of make it a little bit too hard for Boise State to pick through. As you see here, very late in the game, picking out Loyal in a 1v1. Maybe thought Boise State could capitalize on that, but I just think those Earth and Dragon shields, not being able to contest Soul Point at all, was unfortunately what did Boise State in there. As we see the rosters for both teams there, of course, a couple of changes for Boise State that they've started with this tournament. Red Hots in the top line. And we are going to have a new jungler for Western. They're actually going to put Cyber on the bench, and they're going to put Ladon in. So I'll be curious to see what he wants to play, what kind of champions he wants to favor, and how he'll work. So an Olaf ban would not maybe be the best thing for Boise State. Even though Cyber was dominant on it, new player could be, a different play style that they'll have to kind of work around in the picks and bans.
And that image is to scale. Actually, Ladon, a very small player on Western University. It is nice to see, as well as that game went through, Western trying to utilize another player, a sub-player that they might have on their team. And yeah, the Olaf ban at that point, maybe not the best bet. The Galio still a good one there. We can see the UCI Best Coast standings at the moment here. Boise State trying to go for their first win in the overall Western University on their second game here. And Boise State's going to try to even them out 2-0-2, which is what we are currently sitting at here for the Broncos. Texas and Bethany Lutheran as the previous opponents sitting at 2-0. So some really good competitors in this entire tournament and some really high elos across the board as well.
Yeah, definitely a lot of high elos here. Boise State doing a very good job standing toe-to-toe with Western University in that game. I'll be very curious to see how the picks and ban goes. As you mentioned, do we maybe get a Vi Respect ban in from Western University? I mean, we thought 3 jungle bans targeted at Cyber. I'll be curious to see where those bans go now that it's Ladon checking in for him. So, yeah, it's going to be picks and bans, not as, formulaic as we usually see in game 2. Okay, who did really well, ban out their champion, because when you banned away a jungler who's not in the game anymore, that opens up 3 bans. But right now Boise State looks like they are going to stay the same here with that Fiora ban.
Always a solid one, especially with the stats that we have here for Jay up on the top side. The Rumble Classic, Ascent not going to be able to break that through. One of these days I will be able to see Rumble running there in the mid lane, because I hear it is absolutely phenomenal, but Ascent has that much prowess on that champion. And the Jhin, I'm actually not surprised, and that was the big thing. As great as the front line was on the Mustangs, a big part of it was, as I brought up, the curtain call that was utilized to start out a lot of these engages. As Boise State attempted to engage, they were forced to disengage due to that curtain call, and the remainder of the Mustangs were able to follow that up very quickly and deal the damage they needed to due to the high mobility that they had and the high ability to chase down as well. Boise State, not a ton of disengage. And respect ban as well coming out for Aqua's Graves, and the Olaf is actually going to be their third ban of the lock, even though we have a different player, not Cyber. We have Ladon there in the jungle. It did work very well, a very good, jungle for the composition that they had, but not necessarily one of the best in the game. And Ash is going to be the last ban for the first phase here from the Mustangs.
We do see somebody in chat. The score is 1-0 Western here. They Mustangs winning that first game. So Boise State going to have to win games 2 and 3 here to pick up the victory overall. Caitlin, once again, going to be the pick for Goblin. Thought he played it very, very well. The Aphelios pick there for Lynx. I was going to say, he is a Senna player, one of those champions that Riot can't quite figure out if it's a support or an AD carry, and no one else can. So I thought we might see the Senna with the Jhin ban, but that's not going to be the case. And Nocturne, another very aggressive jungler, picked up this time for Ladon. So we'll see if Boise State maybe regrets banning that Olaf away.
Certainly a different style. A lot more potential, though, for Boise State to have really aggressive engages. The Shen is going to be the lock in there for Red Hots in the top lane. It has not worked incredibly well, though there have been some counter picks in regards to that. And Red Hots got very fiercely counter picked in that last game as we saw so much pressure being put towards the top side. The Galio is actually going to be selected there by Boise State. I really like that. A solid front line with the taunt, the hero's entrance available. A lot of the global ultimates already in the bag. 2 out of 3 there with the long range damage from the Caitlyn. So kind of picking up the same strategy that the Mustangs just succeeded with in having a really aggressive front line, but the long range damage to also back that up.
Yeah, and now you have 2 global ultimates to counteract whoever Nocturne jumps in on. So Ladon might kind of learn the same pain that Aqua felt last game, where you jump on someone, it's a 1v1, and then here comes the Galio. And now, by the way, Boise State and Red Hots can add the Shen. Ornn going to be the last pick up there for Western in this phase 1 of picks. A very strong tank. Of course, once he gets level 13, starts providing those extra items to his teammates, can sometimes make up a gold differential. So we'll see if that matters at all. And then the Morgana banned away there from Dean, who played it very, very well. Did not want to give Boise State another Caitlyn Morgana lane.
Did play very well. I was, for a Thresh main, slightly disappointed in the amount of bindings that missed there. The Lulu being banned out, very popular in the meta at the moment. Boise State trying to prevent a really, really heavy engage. We know the wild growth going on to someone like the Nocturne, who follows up or does the engage there with Paranoia. That is a great combination, as well as with the Aphelios there, the ability to get the Polymorph or to get the Whimsy to speed up your allies. The Jarvan, an aggressive jungler there that would work very well with Boise State's current composition. Always a strong one is going to be the final ban from the Mustangs. And a slight swap there. The Aurelia is going to be the selection here. Not something that Red Hots wants to go up against, even though Gangplank is not the choice here. Still a very solid matchup into the Shen.
Yeah, I would be curious to see. I would not be shocked if Aqua brings out the Twitch jungle. It's something he's brought out in the first 2 matches. You can see the Boise State team comp starting to build around potentially 2 AD carries with the Shen, with the Galio being able to protect them. The Syndra pick in there for the mid laner. I'm going to be curious to see how he goes from playing a tank on the side of Western to playing one of the more higher damage mages. I'm sure it's something he can do, but I'd love to. It's just a very sharp transition, so I'm going to be curious to see how that works out. Kindred, probably about as close as you can get to Twitch. So I'm going to be I'm excited to see that. It's almost a pseudo AD carry in the jungle.
Absolutely. You have a lot of damage early on and a lot of damage in the overall there. Boise State selecting a final, a Zach pickup as the last choice there. The Galio may, in fact, be going in the support role there. I am actually, now that I think about it, the Aurelia was an interesting ban considering the Ornn had been locked in before the second ban phase went through. So the potential flex the opportunity there wanting to be removed from the Mustangs. And the Alistar, a lot of aggressive tanks on both sides right now. It worked well for the Mustangs earlier on, and Boise State is going to try to take advantage of that additional mobility. They do have a lot of mobility currently on the composition that they have and the long-range damage to sustain it there from the Caitlyn, but a lot of potential burst coming from the Mustangs if they do get an early engage.
Yeah, I would not be shocked if it is a River Shen bot lane for Dean to sort of go around and support a bunch of roles. This is Boise State versus Western University in the UCI Best Coast Tournament. This is the start of week 2 for both squads right now. Boise State unfortunately sitting at 0-2, Western sitting at 0-1. We'll have to see Boise State dropping the first game. We'll have to see if the Broncos can pick up game 2 and force us into a game 3, winning not only their first game of the match, but seeing if they can win their first series as well.
It would be nice to see at least one match go in favor of the Broncos. I mean, we've got a horse-off going on at this point, a little more fair of a fight than some of the previous matchups that we have seen. And with Western being the first team that Boise State has gone up against with a losing record as well, there is the potential for them to pick up another game here. And we always love to see it go out to a tiebreaker in a game 3. But Boise State is going up against a very solid composition as well from Western University. However, a lot of favor now. I much prefer this comp for Boise State than the previous game.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this comp applies. Doc's keys to the game, which is good mid-jungle synergy. Play for those objectives, value over time, and never take a fair fight. The Shen and the Galio ult should help in that one. It's all brought to you by Count. Count's Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Linked by Count's award-winning AI, the Identity Trust Global Network analyzes signals from 32 billion annual interactions to personalize your user experience. That is just insane. If you want to get more information, check them out at count.com, spelled with a K, KOUNT.com.
We see the NACE Awards there, awarded to the production team and the director, Doc. We can see a lot of social distancing. Things have been set in place so that these players and the production can stay safe. We can see masks actually in there on all of the production members as they are working relatively close together. And then there's plexiglass in between each of those gaming stations that you see there behind Fish as well, where the players do wear masks if they are sitting together. We've had a few tournaments where there are a few players on the blue, as we have the old blue turf from the Boise State football field there. We can see kind of the plexiglass dividers in between, a little bit of a reflection off of those, trying to keep things safe, as well as plenty of Lysol wipes available in the Boise State Esports Arena to keep things nice and clean.
Yeah, making sure we're doing everything we can to get everyone back in the arena. It is a little eerily quiet behind me here since it is all empty. And as of course, no dividers.
No cowbells.
No cowbells, no nothing. And then, of course, to point out the obvious, we're not even in the same room. Jolly, of course, joining us from the power of the internet to make sure that we are definitely 6 feet apart so that nothing gets spread here. A lot of spit flies when you're shoutcasting. That would just be a disaster for this whole COVID situation.
It is hard to get the mic close enough when you've got a mask interfering slightly. And we're going to be jumping in to game number 2, though, of the UCI Best Coast Tournament. Boise State currently down 1. It is a best of 3, so if Western University finds another victory here, it will be the end of this match and lead to Boise State being 0-3. However, if Boise State can find their first victory so far in this tournament, we will end up going all the way to a tiebreaker, which I very much hope to see.
It ends up being the Zach support for Dean, so we'll have to see how he's able to use the CC chains there on the bot lane, and Aqua going with something that he's sort of becoming famous for here, at least for Boise State, the very aggressive no-flash junglers. He's done it, I think, every game, at least every series. One time we see the Ignite and Smite on the Kindred. Of course, having that Q to jump over some walls provides with a pseudo-flash. We'll have to see if it does pay off for him and maybe gets an early elimination. But right now for Boise State, we do see 2 teleports on each side, and of course Shen and Galio going to have extra ways to join the fight, so teleport advantage should always be on the side of the Broncos.
Lots of pings coming out there from Western University. It started on the opposing side there to point out the placement of some of the Boise State members, and now I feel like it's just SkyTech pinging himself out here. Pretty standard starts, no invades, just like the last match that we saw. Boise State and Western University keeping things a little bit close to heart, as this may be the one to seal the deal for Western University, or Boise State might find the opportunity to extend this out to a game 3 here tonight.
see the red buff start from Leydon, a new jungler in for Western University. Cyber was the one who did very, very well on the Olaf in the last game, so we'll have to see. It looks like he might even be setting up for that early level 2 gank on the top side. We see Aqua taking more of the standard route. Both camps pick up the Krug, hit level 3, and then maybe go top lane with that mark onto Ornn. We'll have to see. Right now in the bot lane, some damage being traded out by the 2 supports, 2 of the tanks. Now Dean gonna have the ability to heal up some of that damage with those green blobs, so he should be able to stay nice and healthy in the lane there as Lynx dropping very, very low. Red Hot's doing a great job on to Jay right now. Both of them on more tanky champions as Red Hot's gonna get him all the way back to the turret before he falls off with no minions to help him out.
Very close there, almost picking up first blood from Red Hots, just not quite the speed necessary and no E-taunt available to try to secure that one. So a good disengage, still no vision up on that top side, but we can see Aqua making his way over towards the opposing red buff, checking that out, recognizing it is not there, and probably making his way up for a gank in the top.
See, there's the flash taunt from Red Hot. Unfortunately, the dash away by Jay. We'll see if Aqua's able to get it. The ignite comes out. Wolf tries to help, but unfortunately, just not enough damage, so they will have to trade a flash and ignite for just the flash on the side of Jay. So unfortunately, Boise State not able to get that first successful game.
See if they try to follow it up with anything else. A lot of potential with Aqua on this Kindred, and a lot more tank, a lot more capacity to survive the engages, the fierce engages that we've seen so far from the Mustangs here on the red side of the map, as Boise State selected blue again, loser's choice on the side of the map here. And, you know, I do love the Zac in the bottom lane, but the Alistar was a fantastic pick in response to that. Red Hots and Che just throw a little bit of damage back and forth here. That teleport was expended by Jay to get back up to the top lane after that recall.
Leydon gonna jump onto his set here in the mid lane, flash away, not gonna be able to stop the fear, but it was enough to create some distance, so Ascent going to survive a first early gank. Dean gonna take a little bit of damage. We do see Aqua still hanging around that top lane here. We do see Red Hot's actually going to get the back off, so that means Aqua just going to steal some jungle camps and might be able to return, maybe go for that mid lane Syndra, sitting at about 3/4 life, maybe a gankable target with the Galio taunt.
Goblin not actually having vision on that one, but it did stop the recall there from Lynx, and now a lot of damage going on to Goblin as Skytech comes along the backside.
Yeah, gonna get the flash knock up there, the ignite going to land. Goblin now all caught out. Burst Blood going over to the side of Western University. Going to go on to Skytech there. The great flank from almost what would be a traditional jungle path that we see now. The pings coming out. Leydon still sitting behind that turret if there is an attempted tower dive onto Dean in the future.
And some solid back and forth here in the mid lane as well with this matchup of the Galio versus the Syndra. And really, a lot of these are actually much more even matchups than we saw for the last game. The Ornn into the Shen can go either way. Same thing in that mid lane, depending on how the Galio is played. And it looks like Boise State is at least finding a good advantage here towards the start of the game, pushing Western University a little bit back in most of these, dealing a lot of damage to Jay, so a lot of potential towards the top side, but when it gets to the team fight stage, mid-game, that's when things are really going to turn in Boise State's favor if they can maintain themselves in the early game.
Yeah, one thing they gotta be careful for is we do have a pause come out is in the bot lane thanks to that kill. Goblin only able to come back with a Cole, Lynx able to come back with a full BF sword. So the 80 difference in the bot lane might be something Western wants to play around. Maybe Leydon can farm to level 6, immediately Nocturne ult in onto Goblin if they do push out. So we'll have to see here once the pause ends. But yeah, as you mentioned, Jolly, once Boise State can get to that mid game, they can have those global ultimates to really make anything an unfair fight, as we saw in Doc's keys to the game. That is where they can start to pick up kills. That's where they can maybe start to get objectives like a Dragon or a Rift Herald and turn this thing back in their favor.
And that's what we want, as we've seen no dragons so far today in Boise State's favor. Western picking up, well, actually, I guess we saw the Elder Dragon going over to Boise State, the first Elder Drake of the last game. But the regular early game dragons all going over to Western University as they just had an early jump onto that, pushing Boise State far back, either removing one or two of those members in the bottom lane, shoving them back to their own tower, and then being able to engage with 3 members onto that dragon very quickly, allowed Western to put a lot of pressure on the objectives after that. Boise State Having good security, though, on the Rift Heralds and making good use of them. There we can see the Ornhorn coming out, and that was enough damage to take down Red Hots toward the top side.
Unfortunately, Aqua was rotating over and just wasn't able to get there in time. Does look like in the top lane, you could see on the map there, he's trying to chase Jay down. Unfortunately, doesn't look like he's going to be able to get there. This should just be a suicide from him. Wolf actually got in range the last second. That's going to be huge for Aqua. I don't know if his mark was on to the Ornn or not, but that's going to be huge. Dean now dropping very, very low, but the passive's going to pop. One of the things that you don't really expect in the bot lane. Now Skytech all alone. The dragon being slain by Leydon means Boise State has to be very careful of a Nocturne, but huge use of the passage there by Dean to bait in a kill for Goblin.
And the same exact thing happened in the last round there. Western University going in very, very hard, actually losing a life from Lynx there because of that, but picking up that first dragon of the game. So deciding to swap a life for that, and now re-engaging on the bottom side as Boise State is pushed a little far forward. Goblin trying to take an execute here. Will it happen? There it is.
Yeah, great job by Goblin realizing that they were being collapsed on by Syndra. Just 90 calibers net right into the turret. No one able to get in range. No flash available for the Alistar and nothing to charge to. So great map awareness by Goblin. That death's not going to cost him anything but hurt the stats just a little bit. So Boise State with some excellent plays in the last few minutes here to get back in this game. Now just down 300 gold and even in kills.
Much better disparity as Western University was kind of finding that, and having lost the dragon as well. Feels quite good. Very, very even across the board in terms of CS until you look down towards the bottom side. Ophelio certainly having a bit of an advantage, but not anything that Caitlyn is not able to make recourse on. We can see Red Hot's taking quite a bit of damage from Jay there, sitting 0-1 and 0. But so much movement up from the Kindred, a lot more vision that we can see from Boise State towards the top side, where Western University has chosen the bottom side to place all of theirs.
And knock up onto Red Hots here. Here comes the Ornhorn as we do get a jump into the mid lane there. Nice taunt landed by Ascent. Loyal is out of mana. Ladon's going to ult in though. Aqua's trying to make it there in time. Does have the ultimate available. Unfortunately not able to get it before Ascent goes down. Trying to even it up. We do see Skytech roaming down now. Aqua not going to burn the ult. Realize nothing could save him there and he will go down. So 2 kills picked up for Western University.
I don't know if we've seen any ultimates actually come out of Boise State already. Super Call of the Forge God coming just from Jay there. We just saw the Paranoia come out as well as Loyal's ultimate. So a lot expended from Western University, but we can just see how that spells out the lesser aggression from Boise State, and these engages really all coming from the side of the Mustangs, whether it's towards the top side, whether it's on that bottom lane. Western University trying to find out every potential gank and workaround that they can, navigating around the tri-bush there in the river on bottom side to gank or to engage a pinch. And now Skytech is going to be engaged on here by Dean and Aqua potentially, but he is able to disengage before anything desperate happens.
Aqua wants to go in. I don't know if they know Ladon's waiting in the back line there. Doesn't have the Paranoia, however. Red Hot's going to commit to stand United very, very early there. Boise State now going to be forced to turn this into a play. Ornn did back, so he's not going to get too many free plates in the mid lane. Ascent now going to engage onto Loyal. Going to land the taunt as well. Unfortunately, all out of cooldowns as the teleport comes in from Jay. We'll see if he is able to land a knock-up. Unfortunately, the flash from Ascent means nothing's going to happen. Boise State doing a really good job starting to pressure down some of these lanes for Western University and making use of those global ultimates, at least from the Shen.
And now with Red Hots having stayed united down, we did at least see the ultimate coming out there, but the teleport down, a long walk for Red Hots back towards the top lane as Ornn navigates there, having the CS lead. And a very early staying united there because we saw while Ladon was navigating down towards that bottom side for a gank to help out the 2 bottom laners, there was a vision ward there, and now Dean is going to try to engage as Aqua makes his way down.
Aqua's going to make his way down. Here comes the stand united. Aqua going to get knocked into turret range there. There comes the Kindred ultimate. Taunt is going to land, but just onto the Alistar, who commits his own ultimate, making him nearly unkillable. So once again, Boise State going to commit one of those global ultimates. Unfortunately, not able to land a kill. We do see Loyal rotating down on the Syndra. This does mean Leydon should be able to pick up this Rift Herald without any sort of issue as Jay picks up another kill on Red Hots in the top lane. Here comes Loyal. He's going to flash in, stun lands onto Dean. Ult going to be used. used, dropping very, very low, but he is unfortunately going to be able to survive. So Boise State going to lose 2 kills and a Rift Herald on that one.
And a good chunk of gold also going over to Western University thanks to the objective, picking up several plates there on the top side with the aggression that Jay has onto Red Hots and the prevention of Aqua making that recall towards the end. Not the best place to try to commit to a recall. Jay finding a lot more damage here on this top side, and just like the last game, a lot of pressure towards the top. 0-2-0 is what Shen is sitting at, and almost 30 CS down as well. So we're likely going to see a bit of movement from that Ornn towards the bottom side once that tower goes down. And now the vision has spread as well for Western University. We can see still focus up on the top side, but a very deep ward there by the red buff on Boise State's blue side here.
Western University definitely making a great use of the vision. I'll be curious to see if Leydon maybe wants to try and force a top lane gank with the Paranoia. He does have Shelly available, and at 2 plates, she will be able to one-shot that turret if they wish to get first turret. But right now, their focus is going to be on picking up their 6th dragon of the game, of the series, I should say, 2nd of the game, as they're going to leash that Earth Dragon out. Aqua is right by it, but I'm not sure he can contest much of it except for a smite steal. So Leydon going to do a great job picking up where Cyber left off another dragon, meaning Boise State's going to have to pick up 4 of our next dragon in order to get soul points.
A spectacular ward there too. We can see the pings coming out as Western University recognized that Aqua was focusing there, and Paranoia now coming out from Leydon.
Yeah, great job by Goblin, to 90 caliber net away, and Leydon's actually going to fall. Skytech going to be forced to use the stopwatch there as Lynx tries to re-engage. Going to headbutt Aqua towards his 80 carry, but Stand United's going to be enough to save him. I do think that was eventually canceled out, but it is not going to matter. The shield can't be stopped. Ascent teleported in. Here comes the ace in the hole. Are they able to pick up the Alistar? No. Jay was able to rotate down. Great job by both sides there, but here comes the Ornhorn, and the fight's not over yet. Ascent's going to land a taunt onto Lynx. Here comes the teleport. The Aphelios just barely able to get away. Right now, Boise State says, okay, we'll be fine with this. Skytech going to fall. Now a great job by Ascent over the wall. Loyal, though, going to want to try and pick up Goblin. He will do just that. Now Boise State might be forced to disengage here as those health bars are bleeding for the Broncos, and Loyal full health. No ultimate right now, but a great re-engage by Western University, but both sides should be able to pick up 2 kills. A huge taunt to save Ascent for now at least. Can Boise State turn around? No. Loyal's going to pick up a kill. Aqua's right back in the fight with Red Hots, a double kill, and now Aqua's got to make it away. Does have the Kindred ult, going to use that perfectly under tower. Should be able to heal him and Dane out of dying range, but a great re-engage by Western, but Boise State's still going to pick up their share of kills as well.
And another plate 10 seconds before those plates go down on the turrets is going to expand Western University's gold lead over Boise State. Currently, there we go, 14 minutes, so those plates have gone down. And so many incredible ultimates utilized by Loyal as well to pick up the kill onto Goblin. So a great target acquisition from the mid laner, sitting at 5-0-1, a 600 gold bounty, so certainly a big target on Loyal's head at the moment. The question is whether or not Boise State is going to be able to find Loyal out in a situation where he is killable.
Yeah, and really the big thing was, I didn't quite get to see who stopped it, but somebody was able to stop Red Hot Stand United. The shield did still go out, which kept Aqua alive for the moment, but it prevented Shen from being in the fight until he committed the teleport. So that we were able to get both global ultimates of Shen, if you will, the teleport and the Stand United out of the way and on cooldown. So I don't know if that was the Ornn, I would have to assume it was, or maybe a fear from Leydon, but a great job there, stopping Red Hot from entering the fight as soon as he wanted to.
Ascent still having that hero's entrance available in case there is more roam here, so we can see a little bit of pressure on Boise State potentially moving down that way. Ascent actually going to recall on this one. Some pings coming out from Western University, recognizing because of that deep vision that they have. And more aggressive pushes now from Western University coming around that tri-bush side to try to pick out Goblin.
Yeah, here comes the Paranoia, now able to get in range under the turret. That's going to be one elimination. Dean going to try and balance them out. The turret shooting down the Alistar, unfortunately, going to swap before it picks up elimination. Leydon dropping very, very low. Great use of tower aggro. Unfortunately, they still have to get through Zach's passive, so that's going to cost Leydon his life. It's also going to cost Lynx, and this might cost Skytech as well. Unfortunately for Boise State, 2 of those were executions, so they will not get the gold for that. that, but Dean using a great job to bait that past him, and is now a taunt's going to land on Jay in the top lane. Aqua was there and waiting. The Orange Horn not going to matter. Aqua on a killing spree, doing a great job, 4-1-0 on that Kindred.
Several ultimates there coming out from Western University, and yes, Boise State doing a great job. Dean there on the Zac, using the bounce house to try to keep those guys under turret range as long as possible, and he was far enough back under tower that when that passive popped, Western University had to really go under the tower, take at least a couple of tower shots to re-engage on that and secure the kill. And while Lynx and Skytech did go down in just an execute style, no damage from Boise State to pick up the elimination of the kill on their side. It is still a victory to get more deaths on the side of Western University and maybe get a little bit more pressure in that lane. There we go. First tower going to go down for Boise State up on the top side, and that's exactly what they needed to get towards this mid-game state where they can abandon one lane or at least get pressure on and then navigate down towards teamfight style, as we know that Boise State's composition is fantastic for that.
Twitch chat even chiming in, Dean player of the game or bust, or maybe even play of the game, or why not both? That was just an incredible play. The second time he's been able to sort of bait Western University into overcommitting on the Zac passive here. We do see that the blue turret is going to go down in the bottom lane there, as well as in the second one in the mid lane. So Boise State now losing in turrets 3-1. Definitely going to have to make up for that as the Infernal Dragon, the first of the game, about to spawn. We'll see if Western University can pick this up and move on to Soul Point once again.
And just like has happened every single time a dragon has spawned, Western University is already prepared, having already laid down plenty of vision around the pit and also in position to engage on it first. They're actually going to let Boise State start the engage on this so they can respond with Skytech.
Yeah, nice Kindred ult there from Aqua. Is going to keep Red Hot alive for now, as we do see Red Hot's now with that ending. He's going to go down. Goblin going to pick up Laydan, though. Here's entrance. Will land a knock-up. Unfortunately, no kill going to come from it. Dean going to use the bounce house to fully disengage. Jay joining the fight via teleport. Aqua going to have to try and get away there. Gets knocked away by Skytech. Loyal still has the ultimate for a target of his choosing there. Knock-up going to land, but they'll get the shutdown. Unfortunately, he will be able to kill Ascent in the process. The ultimate still going out. A 3-on-3. Both health bars dropping very low. Dean, no passive this time to keep him alive. Goblin going to get caught. Has the 90 caliber net over the wall. Aqua trying to walk away, maybe trying to re-engage here. Joy's jump over the wall here. Goblin trying to pick up a kill. Will get sniped out by a Link. So Boise State unfortunately losing that one 4-for-2.
It looked so promising towards the middle of that fight, but already so much survivability on the side of Western University. Ornn on the front line, really soaking up a lot of damage there from Boise State, and Aqua taking a lot of damage at the beginning of that fight, trying to jump over to the back line. A fantastic ultimate, though, keeping Goblin alive as long as possible, and now Ascent wants to re-engage on these low members of Western.
Yeah, Ascent's going to land a 3-man taunt, even though it was canceled out by Skytech. Looks like they're going to chase Ladon down as well. Loyal did teleport into the back line. Unfortunately, the rest of his team is not there. Looks like the Boise State Blue Ward is going to miss. They'll re-engage on the Dragon. Scuttle is going to give their position away, as it has been taken by Western University, but it looks like the Mustangs going to concede that one over to Boise State, and the Broncos, preventing a Soul Point. They'll pick up their first Infernal Dragon.
Getting Ladon down at the beginning of that certainly helped with being able to focus and retaliate back onto the Dragon, and a really good re-engage as well by Boise State. Western University kind of taking their time around that Dragon Pit after removing a few members of Boise State. The recalls came through, and the re-engages, thanks to the global ultimates available for Boise State, allowed them to pick that one up, and Infernal certainly good for their team at this stage in the game. Western University still up in gold, though that disparity is beginning to close.
We'll have to watch out, though. Jay almost level 13, so those horn items will start to come online. Each worth about 1,000 gold, give or take, so those will start to grow the gold gap just a little bit, so we'll have to keep an eye on who he wants to upgrade first here. I would assume it would be Lynx. Don't know if Loyal's going to build a Rabadon's Death Cap or if he just wants to get his Luden Echoes upgraded, so we'll have to see how that goes out as Red Hots walks up into the top lane there with his Titanic Hydra. Should be able to match the push of the Sunfire Cape Ornn, at least for now.
Hopefully, because Red Hots is pretty far behind in CS, as we can see. 50, a little bit more than 50 CS in Orin's advantage, and a lot of that has to do with the mobility that Red Hots has been utilizing, and a few not failed Stand Uniteds, but Stand Uniteds that nothing came of, trying to go and assist somebody down early in the bottom lane, not having the teleport back up to re-engage on the top lane and push in response. And only one tower down now for Boise State compared to the 4 that Western University has, means that they're going to try to put as much pressure on each of these lanes as possible. So Boise State needs to start these engages and really fully commit to them if they want to survive. And I think picking out Ladon like they did on that last engage is going to be a good way for them to secure these.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where we can start to see the power of the Shen with the Titanic Hydra. Just has the Bombi Cinder, which will still do some damage to the minions, but he is able to push a lane. He can teleport into a fight. He can go back, push a lane again. Then he can stand united into a different fight. As Ascent tries to land a taunt onto Skytech, going to get knocked up in the air. Dean, though, going to land that knock-up. Lynx, though, waiting around the corner. Goblin there as well, as the pink wards do go down. Vision very much right now in the favor of Western University, doing a very good job using those pink wards to deny Boise State any potential vision. Dean going to try and clear those out. Does take some damage, though, in the process, so not quite able to get that red ward.
And instantly Western University replaces that vision. It has been a big part of the game for Western. Every single member consistently picking up vision and placing it in a location that Boise State doesn't immediately retaliate on, or is used in a way that Western University is able to capitalize on some objectives by recognizing where Aqua is at specific moments, picking up buffs, very deep wards they've been able to throw down. And these wards, for some reason, this vision has survived so much longer on the side of Western University than any vision that Boise State has been putting down, because a lot of gold has been placed into vision for the Broncos here. It just hasn't survived much long enough to be of any use.
And you do see the double red trinkets there for Western University. One on Alistar, one on Nocturne. Both of them almost near a vision score of 40. So they're both doing a great job denying primarily a lot of that vision for Boise State. As we see, Aqua still just has his standard yellow trinket. So he's trying to help out where he can. But a lot of those wards getting scanned down. Loyal now going to try and land a stun. Hits onto Aqua over the wall there. But unfortunately, no follow-up for Western University. Right now, Boise State trying to keep control of this Baron. Don't want to get anything snuck on him too early right now, but it doesn't look like Western's content. Just kind of pushing down the lane, letting Orin and Shen duel it out in the top lane there. We do see Orin hitting level 14, means those items should start to come online, and Boise have to be very, very careful, especially if the Molten Ledge lands onto Lynx. That damage he's going to put out is going to be insane.
There is the teleport and the Stand United available from Red Hot, so he feels certainly comfortable putting pressure on that bottom lane, trying to distract the Ornn out, who has the teleport, but Stand United more useful, and Dean gets jumped on here by 2 members. The hero's entrance gonna come through onto no one. Red Hot gets, oh, no, not quite. The retaliation on to the Call of the Forge God was not hit there, so Red Hot is able to just walk away from that one.
Yeah, I definitely think Jay fully engaged, trying to prevent Red Hots from Stand Uniting into that fight or teleporting away. As you mentioned, the hero's entrance had been used, but nothing is going to come of it. We do see the Flamethrower Runon's Hurricane for Link, just means he is going to melt minion waves. He's also going to do a ton of damage to Boise State should they unfortunately group up in any team fights, which when you have a Galio, Shen, and Zach, that might happen. So getting a kill onto Lynx, getting that pick, or at least trying to lock him down, or at least burn out the Flamethrower ammo, going to go a long way in Boise State picking up this their second Infernal Dragon as it does spawn, but it looks like they might also have to be content just giving it over to Western and letting them be on sole point. As the ult comes in from Link, he's going to land a root onto Goblin. Stand United going to be committed, flashed away, teleports from everyone coming in right now. So we do see Aqua jumping onto Ladon, forced to use that stopwatch there right below the main fight. He will flash over the wall and use that Q to get to safety with the move speed. Dean dropping very, very low, tanks the Syndra ult though. Boise State doing a great job being just tanky enough to survive, and it looks like even after that engage, everyone wants to fall back. Aqua had immediately called for the dragon. Here comes the paranoia from Ladon just to try and blind Boise State. Infernal going to be picked up, but 2 kills going to go over the side of Western University. They fell 3, make it 4 with the Zac passive being popped. He is easily going to be taken down, and it looks like Aqua will be the only remaining member, but Boise State will get the Infernal Dragon.
A very rough engage there for Boise State. It seems like they keep trying to begin these engages, but are not actually fully committed to them. Western University, on the other hand, now as Aqua tries to just survive this, ends up going down a clean ace there for Western University. Boise State very split at that one. We saw 3 members on the side of the Dragon Pit. The attempt to engage there from Ascent on the Galio. Western University taking advantage of that victory there. going to head over to Baron. Boise State does have 2 Infernals, so at least they were able to pick up the Dragon on that end, but these engages seem like they're putting in half. Kind of the communication between them seems a little bit misaligned potentially, or as though there's a little bit of difference in opinion on engaging on these fights. Several members kind of sitting along the wing, or maybe 1 or 2 not actually capable of engaging due to being low health from a previous encounter there. As we saw, Dean was just kind of sitting in the wings, not able to really fully do anything. The bounce house is going to come out though as the engage switches over to Jay, who doesn't have much of a chance here.
Well, the ace in the hole will get a big shutdown over to Goblin. Exactly what Boise State needed in removing a Baron buff from one of these split pushers on the side of Western University. And yeah, I did like the call from Aqua. He had gotten Laydon low enough to where he knew he couldn't engage. He immediately said, all right, let's start on the Infernal Dragon. But as they got it, I think maybe Boise State should have disengaged. It felt like maybe Ascent maybe went into Peel and everyone followed him. I do agree, Jolly, it doesn't feel like they're all on the same page, but I like the initial call. Hey, the enemy jungler's low. Let's hop on this Infernal Dragon. Let's not put ourselves on Soul Point. As we see right now, Ascent and Link dueling it out in the top lane there. Taunt is going to land, but that is a ton of damage coming out. Red Hot's though going to use that Stand United. Hero's Entrance committed as well as the Paranoia as Skytech is going to join the fight. Nice block there by the Alistar. Laydon's going to pick up one. A second one just falls over, and now a stun onto Aqua. Dean going to re-engage, gets the flash away from Loyal. Has to have the ultimate available. Dean does not have the passive, but right now it doesn't look like anyone's going to be picked up. Stun just missing Goblin, but Loyal still wants more. Aqua now going to jump in, immediately commits the ultimate, dodging all of Loyal's. Great use there, and a huge shutdown by Goblin. The last very meter, the last pixel of the Piltover Peacemaker is going to take down Loyal, but unfortunately on the top side, it's a full-on push for Western University.
So Boise State is finding these little victories, but Western University, while they may lose in the overall, I suppose they took down 2 members at the top, so it wasn't a loss. They find where they can put pressure, where they have Boise State distracted, and what they can take away from that. So the split push certainly working well for them. Boise State not necessarily deciding where to commit, and the response time incredible from Western University. You can tell that communication that Boise State might be slightly lagging on or just feeling a little less confident in. Western University has on lockdown at the moment as these members are just backing each other up in every possible role. And while Boise State should have the advantage in responding to these things, it tends to be a little preemptive or a little bit too late, unfortunate for the Broncos.
Yeah, and right now it really doesn't feel like Boise State has anyone who can duel links. 5, 4, and 8 does have the Molten Edge upgrade thanks to Ornn as well as the Runons and the Phantom Dancer, but Dean's going to fully re-engage. Bounce House going to be committed. There is going to be a taunt landing onto multiple members, but unfortunately it's not going to matter. Link's going to pick up one. His support picks up another. Laydon using that Paranoia gets a third. Red Hot's trying to do what he can. He will fall over as well. 4 men go down. Goblin, the last one remaining, does dodge the Aphelios ult, but there's not much he can do against a 4 Baron team, and it looks like Western University at least has plans for the mid inhibitor. We'll see if they want to use these death timers to try and end the game. Only problem is they don't have a lot of minions, and the Baron buff just fell, but right now they're content just taking the turret with the Alistar.
Skytech soaking up a lot of damage there, and the ace is going to come through. They do want to push for the win here, less than 30 minutes into game number 2. Boise State making some questionable engages, and it is going to lead to the end. Poor Dean quitting there. Western University gonna find their first victory of this tournament, currently sitting at 1-1. Mustangs with the big W, not just for Western, but also for a win tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, Boise State dropping to 0-3 on the UCI Best Coast tournament, but still 2 weeks left to go and a second game for this week, as the teams do play 2 games every week in the course of this month-long tournament. So still plenty of time to go. Boise State even could sneak back to potentially having a winning record if they can win out from here, as we mentioned at the start. Still a team maybe getting their footing together. This was the first time that this team had ever played together at the start of this tournament a week ago, so the game's starting to pile up. You saw it in game 1. They were right there with Western for most of the game, so I think it's just a matter of time before Boise State figures this out and is able to start winning these games.
Absolutely. The potential is there for the Broncos here. Just seems like that communication that is always a little bit sloppy towards the beginning of the season while the team works on finding their footing and finding out who the main shot caller of the team is, when to commit, when to disengage, things of that nature. It seemed like occasionally one member wanted to engage while the rest of the team wasn't quite there, and the remaining members ended up going in on an already lost fight, losing their lives, and allowing Western to pick up any objectives they can. We're going to look at the top 5 plays of the night, though, brought to you by Army National Guard.
Still going out, a 3-on-3, both health bars dropping very low. Dean, no passive this time to keep him alive. Goblin going to get caught. I think this is somewhat might have been where you were talking about, Jolly, where it felt like it didn't always know if Boise State was on the same page with whether or not they were going to engage or not, as that was just a great hunt down through the jungle. And Vision, we talked about it all night, was just always on the side of Western University, allowed them to make those plays in the Boise State jungle.
And not just their own vision, but also the vision control in the overall. This was a very entertaining one to watch. As 3 members went down, only one of them was a kill there for Boise State. The other 2 execute as no damage was dealt to SkyTech or Lynx, but still a good removal of some members there by Boise State.
Yeah, the Zach pick, I don't know if it worked out like they hoped, but it definitely worked out for how I had hoped a couple of times, baiting them in with the passive. And Jay on this Aurelia was just so far ahead, but Red Hot's doing a great job kiting him around a turret. As you can see there, the Aurelia 4 and 3, but that was a great play by Red Hot. Thought it might turn the game around, but didn't prove to be the case.
Unfortunately not. The aggression coming from Western was so intense from the start of the game. They did not let it degrade whatsoever. Dean did find some really good callouts, and Goblin as well, doing a very good job of staying on that back line, trying to stay out of the line of fire of the opposing team. This earlier game, absolutely spectacular with Aqua on the Vi, so very, very promising plays coming from the members of Boise State, just not enough tonight.
And that was just a great play by Lynx. He was landing those forced shots all night long onto Boise State members, and I really liked how Ascent played on the Cassiopeia. Would have not minded at all had he run it back there, as he does get the double kill in our top play of the night, brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard. But yeah, I thought that the game 1 play for Boise State was absolutely spectacular. That's how I'd love to see them run it back in the rest of this tournament. I loved putting Red Hots on the more aggressive top laner in Gangplank. Didn't quite work out, but maybe if he wins the lane next time he gets ahead. I love the Cassiopeia pick for Ascent, as you mentioned, Jolly. Maybe one day we'll see the Rumble for him, but right now it's almost always first ban. But I love the team comp in game 1 for Boise State, and I think if they run something similar to that, Aqua on a heavy initiator, the rest of the team on heavy damage, I think that's going to be where Boise State finds their first victory in this UCI Best Coast tournament.
Absolutely. The Galio also ended up working out well. That Zach was a little bit questionable, and I think once these players are a little bit more confident in the shot calling and following each other up, communication, as we know, is massive in this game, and that vision score that we were focusing on so much, communication and vision very much go hand in hand, and once Boise State finds their footing, that is at the top of their priority list.
Now we go into the Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game, and for the 3rd straight time, it is Aqua, who just had spectacular plays on the Vi and the Kindred. I know at one point getting up to 6-1 on the Kindred, unfortunately could not capitalize on it, but Aqua has been a name to remember for Boise State, one of their 2 new players between him and Ascent, and the new mid laner and new jungler for Boise State, and Aqua has been just absolutely phenomenal in this tournament. Even with the 3 losses, he is a bright spot for Boise State. When we get into conference play, when we get into other tournaments, and this team has more games under their belt, Aqua is going to be a name that every other team is going to want to ban out, and he has just such a large hero pool, it's going to be so hard to do that.
That's what's so exciting about this team, is the potential that we have. We kind of expected a bit of a rough start from these guys, as it is a lane swap for Red Hots, as well as those 2 new members, so still playing spectacularly well. A little bit to buff out, but that is relatively standard for this team, and we know they have the capacity to work toward the position that we've seen from them in the past. But again, once they get there, there's no stopping them. This is how Boise State becomes one of the #1 teams in collegiate. They start out a little bit rough, they find their footing, and no one can take them down.
Yeah, like I said, I really love the team comp that they brought out here in Game 1, putting Red Hots on a damage champion in the top lane. I love the Ascent on the Cassiopeia. Thought he had a lot of spectacular plays. So a comp similar to this one I think is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Aqua, of course, doing a great job on the Vi, something he's played very well. Even love the Kindred play as well, as you see there, saved by the Stand United, something that Boise State had planned with those global ultimates. So yeah, I think once they figure out the right team comp to put together, they're going to be almost unstoppable, and hopefully they can figure it out heading into our second game of the match.
I cannot wait to see how things work out for the rest of this UCI Best Coast tournament, and 2 matches a week gives us a lot of opportunity to let these players grow.
Yeah, and if League of Legends is not your game, but you're still interested and you are a high school student, we do have good news for you. It is the VNN. They're hosting a Fortnite tournament August 29th and a Rocket League tournament on August 30th for high school players. Players going to be competing in those games for a total of $2,500 in gaming gear, the Summer Bash trophy, and of course, bragging rights for their school. The top 3 high schools to have the most students register will receive their share of $3,500 in grants funding the athletic program. So spread the word. If you need more information, go to avgl.org/VNN for more information.
We know how much we love our high school players. We've had them in the arena multiple times. Some pretty prominent players as well that allows collegiate esports to do a little bit of scouting early on.
Yeah, always love to be able to get that scholarship to the next great player because, of course, it is collegiate esports, so people have to graduate. A big thanks to our skeleton production crew there, face shields and all, doing a very good job making us look good and sound good here on the desk and remotely. We want to say a big thanks to everyone who was in Twitch chat tonight. Don't forget to drop a subscribe, drop a follow so you know when we go live next. Maybe you can catch Boise State's 4th game of the UCI Best Coast Tournament, and maybe that'll be the game the Broncos pick up their first victory. But follow, subscribe, make sure you stay tuned. For Fish Jolly, thank you so much to everyone. Have a great night.